And I was like, what's up?
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, he's Tony's good people. Like you said, you just did the photo shoot with him, right?
Yeah, I did a photo shoot with him.
Cool.
I know I checked out your Instagram and I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Collab.
It was nice. It was a good little modeling thing. But I think like his clothes are just fucking awesome.
They
like,
are.
He gave me that shirt and it's holding up great, honestly.
Dude, that one that he gave me right after our the podcast we did with him, he was just talking about that whole podcast, how he had a shirt that he's washed like 100 times or something like that. I've washed mine at least 15, and it's
dirty bitch.
It looks like it just came out of the print, you know?
Wow. That's how you know.
Yeah, no, it's good quality material, good print material, so it's, I don't know, Grimes, you know, gotta get your merch. But
yeah.
we're not here for Grimes, we're here for Meeshy.
Woo!
And this is episode 18.
Congrats.
Fuck.
This is awesome.
We're legal.
We kind of just went. I know we kind of just skirted straight into it like that, but you know that's what we do. We do on the podcast. So, I guess what is Meeshy? Who is Meeshy? You know, what's the brand that you're going through? You know, you talked a little bit to me before about this, before the podcast, about like you approached it from the spiritual side of things. You know, you were in the spiritual side of the dance music community here. So how did you come up in St. Pete, and what are you looking forward to doing?
Yeah, so Meeshy has been an evolving part of myself that started in the dance floors in Chicago. So coming from the house music scene, that's like really ingrained in me. And my nickname growing up was Meesh for Michelle. And I was like, I need something a little more with oomph in it. Like I need like 2 syllables, like minimum for a DJ name. 2 I feel like is perfect. And I was at the Ritz for Mersive on my birthday a couple years ago. And the opener was Rossi, Rossy. And it was her name was flashing on the screen, and I was having this whole moment on my birthday, and I was like, Rossi, Meeshy, like I need to add the Y, and then I was with my best friend, and I was like, I just looked at her, I go, Meeshy, and she goes, you're Meeshy.
Oh wow, it's just an ethereal moment.
Yeah, it literally was.
Just eyes wide open.
Like just like a download from the heavens, Meeshy.
Just got Meeshy.
That's so
like, yes.
cool.
Yeah. And then like I've always, speaking on the spiritual side, I've always really resonated with the archetype of the divine feminine. And, you know, there's divine masculine and the divine feminine. We each have both in us, and balancing both really leads to an energetic wholeness. And me as a female, I really resonate with representing the feminine in the electronic music scene, in production. And, you know, it's mostly been run by males and a lot of male influence. And I wanted to just bring a feminine touch. And then shortly after Meeshy came about, I was like, when you pronounce Meeshy, it's me, she, I am she. And I was
completely went over my wow.
Some real Aristotle shit right there,
Damn.
dude. That's great.
I was like, this name this name found me. Like it is me. It's always been me, but I am she. I am me, she.
Me, she. Yes.
So I kind of launched with the branding of bringing the divine feminine to the dance floor, kind of playing on the dance floor and divine feminine. And I felt really good about that. But as my just my goals and my image and my brand has evolved, now it's house music for the soul. And who knows what it's going to be next, but it's just like the next evolution of Meeshy.
Wow.
Fuck with it.
That is so cool.
Fuck with it hard.
I love that. So you have the spiritual aspect. Do you have like a musical background? Because obviously you have a great sense of rhythm. You have a great sense of like music history, talking about Chicago and house. But you collaborate with a lot of like instrumentalists. You know, I've seen you collaborate with saxophone artists and violinists, and I've even seen keys kind of incorporated. So like, where does that come from? Where's that influence?
So I would say my first introduction to music was in the church growing up, and They didn't have saxophone. We weren't that cool. You know, some piano, but like really in church learning music and especially like the notes and reading music with the hymns. And so that's kind of what I've learned about music, but I was more the sports route. I played soccer and volleyball, so those were kind of my talents
I
growing
could see
up.
volleyball.
Yeah, everyone says I look like
Yeah,
a
I could see
volleyball player.
volleyball. No basketball?
I tried basketball once. I was terrible. It
What?
was so bad.
You weren't dunking on these bitches?
No.
Spiking on it.
Yeah, the spike I can do. The Duncan, no.
Fuck.
But along with like growing up in the church, my dad would always be like, "Oh, our family can't sing," and so it put in my head that like I can't sing. It's a genetic thing. I'm like disposition to not be able to sing.
It's like happy birthdays were just like,
No, we don't sing those here.
we don't do that.
Yeah, we allowed some exceptions, but and I would say that was the start of like my exposure to music. And then once I turned 18 and got a fake ID, I was going out to the bars.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what you should do.
exactly.
Should not do.
So you know, as soon as I was legal.
Yeah, legal. Episode 18.
Just
Yeah.
like our podcast.
Why do you talk about this? Legal in life, not legal to go to the bars.
Yes.
Not in America, at least. You know.
I just love to dance on the dance floor. I was like totally the woohoo girl on the dance floor, just like loving life. And that was the first time I had really seen DJs. And what I really liked about that was that they're creating an experience for the people. And it was like, it's the whole event and the feeling and the people and the dancing. And then when I moved to Chicago, that's where I really saw like my friends that were producing music, my friends that were really DJing full time in Chicago. And then along the way, travels in Central America where I got exposed to like more worldly sounds. I was putting on events and festivals at this retreat center I worked at in Guatemala. And they had DJs from around the world come, and they had a lot of tribal aspects, and that's where I saw live instruments come in with DJ sets. Wow. And I was like, I want to do that.
That's the like big thing kind of that we've come across like these 18 episodes is like a lot of tribal stuff is really being incorporated into like a lot of stuff now. Like
when I first started making my way into the Tampa scene, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, one of the first things I was told was actually by this like art mogul, like I don't know, some guy that curates a bunch of art exhibits, like physical medium, between St. Pete and Tampa, and he was saying like there's someone like me that's doing this with DJs, and I guess he owns the person he was referring to owns. Oh, no, I'm not gonna remember it. Gabby plays there every now and again, but it'll come back to me. But downtown Tampa. Anyway, they were trying to say that the worldly aspect is what a lot of event curators are looking for. There's this desire to reach outside of America, even outside of some of the more common common Latin sounds, right? Because there's a lot of Latin influence in Florida, especially from Miami and stuff. But I was told to dig deeper, basically. And like when I was talking with some guys from Trippy Squad, Andy from Trippy Squad, he was telling me about all these sounds and all these artists like from Ukraine and like the stuff that's coming out of like the more oppressed parts of Eastern Europe and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see where people grab their influence from and to see like how that gets represented just in St. Pete and in Tampa. And like there really are artists like yourself digging deep and taking influence from real international experiences and artists and cultures. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we live in such a globalized world, and with social media, we're connected in ways we've never been connected before. And especially if you like to travel and can't afford to do that, that's such an inspiration. Like wherever I go, I'm like, I want to hear the music here. I want to see how they're dancing. I want to like, hit the moves with them.
Yeah.
And how can you not take a piece of that with you and incorporate that in your life? And I think that that's just the world we're living in. And it's such a beautiful place to be at.
I totally agree.
What do people in Alaska listen to?
Got Eskimos out there?
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like,
What do they listen to?
What do people? Because you can be on the West Coast, you listen to West Coast music,
Uh-huh.
does South music, East. The fuck do people in Alaska listen to?
What's the big city out there? I forget the name. Antioch? Or no, not Antioch.
I think it starts with an A.
Yeah, I don't know. Not gonna remember.
But like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, who's hot in Alaska?
Probably whoever's hot. It's the thing. They got top 40 Pandora out there.
They have
I
to.
feel like DJ Eskimo would hit hard.
DJ
Yeah,
Like that. If you're
DJ
in Alaska and
Frostbite.
you find this, jump on this now.
yeah,
DJ
I'd be down
Eskimo.
with that.
Yeah.
Just a random. You're talking about
It'd be,
worldwide,
well, I don't know, because they got like the snow lodges out in Colorado.
bro.
and,
If
like,
you did a
Washington,
fucking
Oregon.
boiler room set in an igloo,
I was just thinking, how
Bro.
sick would a set in it
Bro.
be?
That would be fire. We have to be the
Yeah.
first one. Actually, we're probably not the first ones to do it, but we just gotta do it.
episode 21. We go to Alaska.
Go to Alaska,
Yeah.
find a DJ, find an igloo. Make it
This
happen.
is sorry. This is just a random thought. I'm just like, what the
Well, I
fuck?
wonder,
You bump out there.
speaking about like just musical influences, that's really digs deep in the culture of that country. Like, I wonder what music, like, what would their like?
What are their instruments?
Probably drums.
Just drums and that's what. But like
Yeah.
Alaska,
Usually most cultures,
also-
especially like if there's a tribal influence. there's,
Yeah.
like,
But they're
drums
like
behind it.
obviously a U.S. state, but also they're connected to Canada, are they not?
They
on
are
the upper-
connected to Canada.
Yeah, so maybe they have
and they're like a stone's
Canadian-
throw away from Russia.
From Russia. So that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. Russian Canadians kind of.
That's probably goes hard, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you show them Obnob, like Oddmob or Omnom, and like they're good.
But also like this one. So in Alaska too, right? It's a lot of the time. It's not sunny, right? They have like only a couple of really sunny months. So do you think that the music out there is maybe more catered towards like, not sadness, but like more mellow song? Like
yeah,
you like if it's dark all the time, I'm not trying to get fucking hyped. I'm trying to chill.
I'm trying to chill.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just,
Maybe I don't know. This is something to dive into. We're gonna have to look into the Alaskan influences.
now I want to
on
see.
dance
Now I want to
music.
go the whole equator because the equator like more sunshine and stuff like that.
Well, that's you start to get the Caribbean vibe and
and it's all
island
hyped.
vibe,
It's all
Yeah.
hype shit,
Pacific Island, and
bro.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
Well,
There you
Diplo just did a live DJ set in Antarctica,
I saw that.
and
what? Who did he perform in front of?
for YouTube.
The penguins, dude.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say the
for
penguins and polar bears.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah, it was a
Happy
live.
feet.
Was it a live stream or was it like he did it and then posted it afterwards?
Well, he called it a live stream because in the moment it was live, but
That's
you
true.
post it after.
Yeah, well, he couldn't stream it from Antarctica. I mean, maybe if you had like the sat link,
We got to be the
Yeah.
first ones to like stream from like a submarine, like under the water.
that'd be sick. I
A
don't think that's
submarine's
physically
cool.
possible, but maybe. Who knows?
That's what
Yeah,
exploded.
like so interesting enough that we're talking about this.
You have a submarine?
I don't have a submarine, but I am DJing on an airplane coming up.
What the
That's sweet.
fuck?
Yeah, and it's a small 4-seater airplane that is painted by a muralist, and the pilot reached out to me on Instagram, and we've already done some test flies. We've had to buy special equipment to mount GoPros on the outside of the airplane,
Okay.
and they're like aerodynamic like camera mounts on the outside of the
Wow.
airplane.
Damn.
Physics.
Yeah.
Serious physics going into this.
Wow.
And I'll be doing a live set in the back. And we've had to cancel the shoot. We've had the shoot now scheduled 3 times, and it's had to be canceled. One due to logistics with the videographer, another one due to weather, and then the third one was the hurricane. We were literally supposed to film the Tuesday before Milton.
Wow.
And then now it's just been delayed because the hangar got hit with the hurricane, but we're still in the works for that. And
That'd be sick.
Cool. That is super cool.
I hope that like I was just telling him earlier that I have a YouTube channel where I like to recreate just like DJ sets in cool and unique places, and I'm especially inspired by Circle.
Okay.
And so I've done I think like almost 20 now, and I've like hiked on a mountain in Malibu and like had a drone and was DJing on top of there, and I did in front of the Venice Beach skate park. And now I think the airplane might be the one to pop off, but we'll see.
That'd be pretty cool.
I hope so. I mean, shoot. That's amazing. They all should be popping off at this point, but
it only takes
the airplane,
one.
that's all. Yeah,
That's the algorithm of YouTube, is that the shelf life of the content on there lasts a lot longer, because if someone discovers you and then it can get popular, then it blows up all the rest of your videos.
True.
that makes sense. So when you're doing these live sets, which I guess the plane might be a slightly different equipment situation, but like, what controller are you using? Like, how are you how are you backpacking? You know, because like you said, you're traveling up a mountain in Malibu. You can't like drag a cart behind you. Like, you got to probably put that all on your person. Or like your videographer. So like, what are you guys bringing, if you don't mind disclosing that?
Yeah, we have a whole setup. So Peak Design creates these really great, quite expensive equipment bags, and
Tea's so good.
Oh,
what is this?
cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers. Ayahuasca.
It's like the perfect.
It's peppermint tea from Trader Joe's.
Shout out Trader Joe's.
Yeah, we love a good. I'm a Trader Hoe. That's what they call them.
There you go.
A Trader Hoe. Joe is my man.
I never thought I would like peppermint tea, but that shit kind of busting.
Kind of busting.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Don't worry. I'm glad we had that moment. Packing. So
what equipment you
bring, so everything gets very compact, and everything I've bought has been very intentional to travel. But the controller I use is Newmark Mixstream Go Pro, and it's fully battery.
The battery-powered version of the one that we use. We just messed up because we didn't realize they released a battery-powered version.
Oh, yeah. Well, the seller of it for me was that it has the 2 speakers built in. And so I can monitor and I can hear, and I don't have to bring any outside anything in. But it's a great piece of equipment, and I've gotten some feedback on my YouTube where people don't think I'm actually playing because nothing's plugged in, and I have no speakers. And I'm like, no, I totally am. Even one of my best friends was like, I was like telling her about something I filmed, and when I hiked up on Malibu, it was the first time that my dad had seen me DJ, and because he was up there with me. And she was like, oh, he could hear you? I was like, yeah. And she was like, you actually are plugged in? You're actually DJ? I thought you were faking it. And I'm like, no, why would I ever do that? She's like, well, there's no cords on it. And I was like, I wonder how many other people think this.
So that's why I kind of wanted to talk about this, because, this is a big thing. And like, I know there are a lot of DJs and people out there that are just faking it for the gram.
Yeah, get it off your chest.
You can tell when you're doing it that you're not faking it. And there's a lot of DJs out there that are using equipment because the equipment is caught up to it now. Like, you can show up somewhere with nothing plugged in and be able to run a set for 3 hours because there's battery life on it, and you have the USB, the screen, everything's all in one. Like, so
you have to know what you're looking at, though. And most people don't. I mean, there's a rise of DJs, but I feel like a lot of people don't know what they're looking at.
I mean, if I was somebody who didn't know what was going on, like when I was a novice in this, like I didn't know shit. I'd be like, listen, this he's just doing this. It looks like he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. But now the more that obviously I'm in it and exposed to it, I'm like, I know you ain't doing shit, bro. I know for a fact. I know for a fact.
You start to get the little tips and tricks.
Like, you moved something, but nothing changed. I know you.
The trim just a little.
Yeah. Be like, that knob isn't doing nothing, bro.
Sometimes though, we be doing things.
Sometimes
we can hear it, but no one else can hear it.
Yeah.
You sit there editing a track for an hour just to raise or boost the gain like 0.3 dB, like.
Yeah.
God, bro. Fucking.
But I mean, that's like the beauty in it all with the creativity, is that like it's just you against the world. No one's telling you how to do it, or like what is the perfect result, because perfection is subjective. Your perfect for a track would be totally different than my perfect. Yep. And I think knowing when to say when, at least for me, to keep the momentum going, is important, because if you're just stuck on one thing forever, then, or for a long amount of time, like time, I feel like is our most valuable asset. And partly with creating music, a lot of it is about just pushing out pushing out music and momentum and repetition and just getting yourself known and or doing a lot of shows, and it's like sitting there. It's hard to be your own critic in all of this.
Yes.
You bring up a good point though about time. Like, I think timing, some people are more aggressive or more passive with the passing of time, right? Like some people are driven by a biological clock or by like the grind set or like let it be, the river will flow. People have different mindsets about it, but I do think that it's kind of poetic and almost like metaphorical. Like, we're doing music, right? Music is about timing. You have a time signature, you have a tempo, everything goes in a rhythm. And so like everyone's rhythm is a little different, and even if it's just what BPM do you like to play at, or like if you're, if you like jazz music versus country music, like those are going to have different flows, right? So I think the way that when you like release as an artist or when you do things as an artist or play a set or whatever, like that's really what makes an artist, right? Is like, what's their timing? What's their tempo? How do they move in life? How do they book their gigs? How do they represent themselves? What music are they playing? How are they playing? How are they streaming all that together? And I think it's cool the way that you move, the way that you do your stuff, and the way that like you satisfy multiple artists or multiple what is the word I'm looking for? Multiple audiences by doing the things that you do the way that you do them. That was what really attracted me to your artistry, was like, you don't really move the way that everyone else does, but your socials are popping. You have your own set thing that you're doing. Your YouTube videos were like, wow, no one else is doing this right now. That at least around here that I saw. Like, I haven't seen anyone else post the same quality of like remote sets that you have or something like that. The way that you incorporate the drone footage, and it's very aesthetic online, but it's also very real. Like the music behind it's real. So I commend you for that.
Thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I
Fuck
love
yeah.
that.
Hell yeah.
Wow, that just made my heart feel so good.
You have a fan right there.
I am a
Aw.
fan. I'm a fan. Also, she's cool. Like, she shows up to my sets, which, not everyone
Showing
else
love.
out here
Showing
doing that.
love.
I'm not going to lie. Not everyone out here doing that. So that's awesome. I really appreciate the support
Thank
that you've
you.
given to me and other artists in the community.
It's so important. Like, we all have to support each other, because without each other, especially the people that show up to see you, like, I would be nothing to what I'm doing is creating a feeling. And yeah, I can play to empty dance floors, but it's everyone on the dance floors that makes me who I am.
Yeah.
And I love showing up for other people. I love networking. I love getting out there. So I think that's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to bring this up because we've had an artist, Hexadevi, on this podcast before that talked about Burning Man and talked about Love Burn, which is coming up here in February. And apparently you are a burner. Is that what they refer to them as? Is that what you refer to yourselves as, burners? Or?
I think that you're not officially a burner till you go to the big one.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, this will be my second Love Burn now, and it's the regional burn. So yeah, I'm getting my toes sparkled.
Sparkle. I like that. That's funny. So you haven't been to the big one, but you already have an insider knowledge of like the culture that's in there, right? Like you understand how the dynamic works. Like you talked about how there's no Hexadevi was trying to explain this to us. You were trying to explain it to me earlier. There's no concept of money. Everything is like donation or contribution based, right? So like, can you go into that a little bit more? Like your perspective on that and how?
Yeah, and this is honestly one of my favorite parts about the event is that there is an overall organization that you buy a ticket from. But after that, once you get in, you don't pay for anything. So every camp offers a free offering, whether it's music or art or experiences or food. Like there was a hot dog camp next to me last year all day long, slinging the hot dogs.
Slinging those glizzies, bro. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
He said, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do.
I know where I'm going.
gonna offer.
There's one that washes your hair for you.
Really?
And there's you just never know till you go around the corner and then you're like, there was like a dildo making one.
For
The whole
free?
camp.
The whole
is just
camp.
making dildos.
Yes, it's you
like,
go in,
do you model?
you
it?
mold it.
You mold
There's
it.
different molds, and you choose your mold, you choose your color.
Can you make a
and-
mold right there on the spot?
Like
Probably it's love. It's burning.
Stick your dick in the sand.
Yeah.
yeah, and then it's like I made a dildo from my
Yeah.
own dick for myself. What
for
a great
yourself,
gift!
Yeah.
It's like this white elephant's
Put
gonna
it
be
right on my
crazy this year.
forehead.
What a weird gift.
Yeah, so I mean
Secret
that's
Santa.
just like the level of creativity in the community is just there is no limit. They do have some guidelines of like consent is a big one and respecting people's boundaries, but one of the other guidelines is radical self-expression. So people just
Radical
expressing their largest self, and it's accepted and it's encouraged. And the thing with no money is that like also one of the things is you bring a cup, and everywhere you go they have some sort of like seltzer or alcohol or like cool tea or something, and every camp you like bring your cup up and they give you a drink and like welcome. And the gifting is also a big part of the community. So you'll just be walking by and they're like, here you go, and it's a crystal, or like they'll take a Polaroid of you.
Wow.
Or I've gotten t-shirts or like bracelets, and it's such a cool experience.
So what if you have nothing? Okay, so somebody gives you something. What if you have nothing to give back?
It's not about that at all.
Ah.
It's not even like I have something for you, you have something for me. It's like here is just a gift because of you. You're
That's
here.
awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of time people will be like, "Oh, I have something for you,"
Gotcha. But if they
um,
don't, it's not like frowned upon. It's like this is
not
a gift.
at all.
So it's kind of like trading like candy or trinkets, kind of like at a
So
smaller
trading,
festival. Or something
trading,
like
the
that?
word trading isn't even really allowed
Okay.
either.
That's fair,
Wow,
'cause it's
because
not
it's
a barter,
gifting.
it's
It's gifting. Is it
gifting.
gifting?
Because it's no money, it's not trading, it's just gifting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that kind of makes me think how programmed I am, because it's like, to me, I don't even really think about it like that, but like that is what it is at the end of the day. You know, like, well, my thing is like, you give me something, I'm gonna give you something back, because I feel like that's like
If you
who I
can,
am,
if you
but,
can,
like,
or you want to, but it's not required. It's not.
because it's not a mercantile.
Well, your
Yeah.
gift
bartering
is
thing.
yourself, just who you are.
So that was
Damn.
gonna bring me to my next point. Yeah, that's some serious self love right there. I go to my therapist to talk about that one. But so like you buy the ticket, you go there. What are there expectations? Like, I mean, you just laid out the ground rules, but like, are you part of a camp? Do you have to be part of a camp? Do you like? How does that work? Right? Like, how do you find your people? Do you stay there? Do you Airbnb? Like, what do you do with especially the regional
question.
burns? Like, what do you do for that?
Yeah, so everyone stays at the event, and it's at a park, like a natural preserve area. And so camping, RVs, and it's not required to stay with a camp, but the like solo camping, if you want to bring your own tent, is far away from like, because it's huge. I mean, the whole event spreads. It's just huge. Like you want to bring a bike to ride around.
Even to the
too.
regional one.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. If you really want to see it all, which it's hard to.
Yeah.
But the
That's
solo
what I've heard
camping,
about the big one too, but like
the big one's even bigger. But this one is the second largest one in
wow.
Loveburn. Loveburn in Miami's second largest burn after the big one. But no, I mean, the best thing, they always say, go with no expectations. And there's this saying called fuck your burn. And it's just kind of like, fuck it.
fuck it.
Like, but people say
Fuck
it to you.
it.
Like, fuck your burn. Like,
Wow. I can imagine if you didn't know. If you didn't know
nuts
that.
and someone's like, fuck your burn. Like,
I was gonna say, like you don't know
Okay.
that. I thought we were gifting. Fuck your burn.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's also like love it. I think it's just like a play on words of like love it. And that's the whole thing is like you it really just shows you what humans are capable of. And when we come together and just like have freedom of expression, and obviously there's so much music. There's a lot of DJs. I did like a crazy run last year, and I would say I took away from my experience by doing so many DJ sets at different camps that they had already asked me to be a part of. And I was just so like, I have to do the next one. I have to go to the next one. I have to be on time. I have to do an outfit switch. And I was exhausted. Like I did like four DJ sets in one night, I think.
Damn, fuck.
Like grinding.
Yeah. And this year I only have one. And I'm like, I'll be able to really explore a lot more.
Explore and enjoy it. Enjoy
Yeah.
it. Like, so the music that they play, what's the genre? Mostly
House.
house.
Yeah.
Would you say it's all house, or is there some bass in there, or is it mostly?
Well, I gravitate toward house, but definitely big bass artists as well. Yeah, there was I can't think of his name, but he just played at Synergy with Daydream Farmers for their Halloween one. But I really like his bass stuff, and I like wandered into a camp, and he was throwing down, and I was like, yes. And yeah, definitely, I would say like maybe 33% bass, and then the rest, house.
Nice little thread.
And then there's also a lot of live music. There's a lot of live music, like bands around the corner.
Cool.
Yeah, so music is a huge part of it.
Mark
your calendars for next year.
How big it is and everything, what's the difference from like the distance between one act to the other? Like, is everyone kind of in the same area, or is it like one act is here, you got to go another 400 feet for another act?
The camps are right on top of each other. And the thing is that try and follow a schedule for any burn. It's
fucking luck.
Yeah, it's not. And so that's kind of the beauty of it as well, is you're truly in the moment, and whatever you stumble upon is what it is right then.
Yeah, it's just
nothing's
happening.
guaranteed.
Wow.
And like,
Fuck
yeah, when I DJ'd, they told me what time and where, but like they weren't posting that anywhere. And like,
So someone just wandered into your set, and
yeah,
that was
exactly.
just their moment.
That was
for
their
them.
moment. Yeah, and that's
work in
fun. And some camps will try and post a schedule, especially like if they have bigger people coming through, which is more for the bigger burn. And then it's just like trying to follow that. It never happens. So yeah.
That's kind of how festivals end up for me in general. Like any kind of, whether it's
Yeah.
a super regimented like EDC or Halloween
It's
or
never gonna work.
more of a jam thing. Yeah, it's just like.
But that's how you
it is what it
discover
is.
new artists too. And
True.
I love going to festivals and wandering around. Like I just went to my first EDC.
This last year or this.
This
November?
past year, yeah. And this was a hard decision. Don't judge me on it, but I sold my Halloween ticket because I really just wanted to experience my
How do you feel
my
about
one
that?
EDC.
Well, have you been to Halloween before?
I've been to Halloween.
Okay,
I've never
well.
been to EDC.
I mean, then that's a fair thing. If
He's so angry right now.
no. It just like, I don't know. It's hard because I've been to EDC last year, made it 3 times, I think. Yeah, I think last year was my 3rd. I don't think it was my 3rd.
Yeah, it was your third.
So, I don't know. There you go. He's keeping track. So, I don't know. Halloween's more my vibe. I also grew up like in the Swanee. I grew up going to Springfest and Magfest and wanting and stuff over there. So, it's different for me. But it's good that you went and experienced EDC. So, what was your experience at EDC compared to Hula in the past?
I mean, I would say I'm a hula girl.
Okay.
Going to both. EDC was super packed. Like
It's ridiculous.
it was. I felt like an ant.
Yes, it's a great
but
way
once
to
I
explain
got,
Yeah.
yeah,
an ant in an anthill.
You're an ant with other ants and then a couple of other ants that aren't from like your hill. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Everyone's just ants from different hills.
From different
Yeah.
hills. You're like, what the fuck? It's like, that's not what we do on this hill. They're
No.
like, oh, fuck it, bro.
No.
It's EDC is. So it was packed. What did you think of the music?
So I mean, I was at the house space stage for a lot, and I really enjoyed that. I saw, and then like some like Berlin techno, some trance,
Cool.
and I discovered like new sounds, but I wandered well, actually, no, I knew she was on the schedule. I wanted to see Blondish.
Oh, no.
I
cool.
love Blondish. And well, I love her now, but I was like, she's on my radar, like female DJ. I like what she's doing. Like she has like Latin house. And I went and I was just so blown away. Like I had the best experience. Like she's my number one inspiration right now. She has a record label, Abracadabra, and she's just putting out amazing feel good songs. And the interesting thing that I'm so inspired by with Blondish is that she mixes house and like Latin tribal, or not house. I meant disco.
Oh,
Disco.
Disco and Latin.
There you
In
go.
Latin
That's
tribal.
that is some interesting shit.
And those are my two favorite things. Like I love like the disco house. I love the tribal house, and she's doing both.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So
Was she doing that stuff? What was it, Neon Garden, that stage that you saw
no,
her
it wasn't
at?
Neon Garden. It was Stereo Bloom.
Oh, cool. Okay. You saw her at Stereo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was she doing that stuff at Stereo? Bloom?
Yeah, and
gotta
that's what made me fall in love with
gotta
her.
listen to more.
Was I was like, I knew about her, and then like I went, and who I was with, it happens at festivals. Like they want to go somewhere else, I want to go somewhere, and I ended up like being by myself and making my way toward the front, and I was like, this is my girl. Like I loved her. She was just throwing down. There was a disco ball and like
Wow.
just such good music, and yeah, so I've been playing a couple of her songs out that I really like. And then I had to go all in, and I made sure I saw John Summit. And
It's a must.
yeah, I'm really inspired by specifically his female vocals in his tracks. I think that's what
That's
really
fair.
blew him up.
Yeah.
Is Escape and all of his big hits have female vocals. And one thing is that I want to have my own voice in my tracks. And I've been in voice lessons. I've been working on my voice. I got a microphone for Christmas. So
Nice.
we're getting there for sure.
Put in
But
some
It's not
Working.
genetic. It's not a
You
genetic.
gotta work. You gotta work for that.
yeah, and your voice is a muscle. And so that's what I was taught, is that you have to work out you work it out, you like train it. And
Squats and
yeah.
flies, throat flies and squats.
Do you have a vocal coach? Or
I do, yeah. I was working with her last year, and then just the time commitment, speaking of time again, I just realized I wasn't quite ready to commit to the time of where I was ready to record my own vocals on my own track yet. So we did more of like the basics, and then also the psychological part of what are the blocks of your voice. And so
Ooh.
I really dug deep, and I found this story from my childhood my dad said we can't sing. And so she was like, yes, you can.
You're like, you're
like,
goddamn right. I
This
can.
is why I paid you. Tell me I can sing.
Wow.
So now, a year later, I've decided this year I'm slowing down. I went hard last year. I did 70 shows last year.
Wow.
And this year I'm slowing down, and I have one show this month. So that feels really good. Is saying no and really like upping my value, and like knowing that I have to spend time on production.
Yeah, that's a tough little change there. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up. What were you going to say?
yeah,
something
no,
first?
like knowing when of like, okay, I'm doing the shows and I'm going hard and I'm doing all this, but by doing that, you're not developing in another part of music. So finding that nice balance, like you said, I just went hard. Let me switch it up. Let me work on this, and then I'll go back to you. You have to take a break to focus on something else once in a while, and kind of develop it. So that's awesome that you're doing that. That you're like, I went fucking hard. Now I'm gonna like work on the vocals and the production so I can come back even better. Mm-hmm. That's the part that not a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like it's the next level, and
Yeah.
it is like naturally the next step. And I feel like no one can tell you how to do this. It's your path, it's your journey, and naturally along the way, like the next step becomes clearer, and that's part of changing. That's part of growing. And yeah, I definitely can't wait to release my first track, which is my number one goal this year. It was my number one goal last year. I didn't quite get there with the hurricane, and death in the family, and I got a house and I got a puppy, and I did
big life
70
stuff.
shows.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, this year is the year. So
You said it's gonna be your first track. Like, you don't have any produced tracks out right now.
not out. I'm in a production course with LP Giobi. She's a
Nice.
her production course is called She is the Producer. So again, supporting the females, and there are lessons in there with it's online. Alicia Keys talks about like vocals. She just has like big names. So I'm in that production course right now. I have tracks in Ableton, but really it's like my voice that is the next step to put them in there.
So your first track is gonna have your voice on it. Do you want that to be one of your defining, pieces of your music? It's your voice on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna do collaborations and stuff too, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
But you want it to be your voice. through
Yeah.
the music. That's awesome though. I respect that because
It's a big move.
it is a big move. So two questions off that because we're kind of getting towards the end. Do you in your productions currently focus much on the actual vocal production, like how you're layering or like the plugins that are associated with? Like, have you focused much on how you process vocals? Or?
No, not yet. And I know about all that. I think for me, it was just getting to the point of my voice is ready to record because I have such a strong vision of my voice being in my house track. And I'm still learning all the ins and outs of Ableton. And like I said, I'm still in that course. So I have a long way to go. But someone told me, they said once you can make one track, you can make a whole album.
I think that's very accurate. I think
it's pretty much.
Because this is where I was going with it, right? Like, there's a lot of people that get held up on the technicalities, and like they get held up on whether it's them learning an instrument or learning, discovering their voice, or even like taking the jump to buy Ableton or like buy Serum or like, learning their first synth or, like there's all, or like learning how to do a compressor. Like there's all these little hurdles that you got to jump through, and like, it's usually mind over matter. Cause I remember when I first was diving into DJing, I was like, I came from acoustic and electric music, like, rock bands and not even being able to do bands, but just like trying to find my own voice. And I thought I was so cool, like that I could play an instrument. And then I realized that I didn't know shit about production or DJing. And it was like a big mental block for me to like jump into that. So I think that's so cool that, again, like you're jumping into all that, you're taking it by the horns. But yeah, vocal production is its own beast.
It's its own
Because you
beast.
mentioned how the voice is a muscle, right? But it's also like an instrument, and it's the hardest instrument to manipulate. Both, maybe not necessarily like physically, but when you're in a studio recording setting, like, taking a saxophone or a woodwind or a guitar is fairly straightforward and simple, I don't know, technically speaking, but like your voice, there's just physical elements to it that is just so hard. So that's that's one thing you get to look forward to, I guess,
Yeah, I know.
So happy you're going on this journey. Let me scare you real quick.
It's like one of the hardest journeys ever. Good luck.
I mean, it's just, if you already know how production works and you got Ableton and you got tracks open and stuff, then you'll be fine. But
for sure.
And I'm sure LPGOB and Alicia Keys will teach you all about it.
Yeah. And also just like asking for help when I need it. I'm still like making connections with producers that are willing to like do lessons and like I think a lot of it's going to also come to like mastering, because you can just do a lot of different stuff with the voice, but I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, because there's a lot of house songs I like that are just like levitate, 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 or like just simple things. And I'm like, I can start simple.
Yes. House is a genre that you can have as long as you can say a word in somewhat of a fun or seductive matter, it'll sound great. It'll sound great on it.
I think that's the divine feminine that you're talking about. Like everybody wants to hear a female voice beckoning them to the dance floor.
Oh God, it's so enticing.
It's so enticing.
Like I don't know whose voice this is, but I like it. I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah. And just having that refrain, that repeat,
And then for that to be my own voice,
Yes.
that's like that's the goal. So we're getting there.
I love that. Well, I'm excited to see everything that's to come for you this
Thank
year
you.
and coming up. You know, it's pretty much all the questions I had. Was there
Yeah,
anything
no,
else you
this
wanted to
was
touch on?
awesome. I'm so excited to see. It's nice that you're going on this venture now, that you're going to this new side of production, and you just killed it this last year, like you said, 70 shows. So this is exciting because it's a whole new chapter. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to continue to like do the same thing. You're like, I'm going to switch it up so that when I want to do another 70 show, like I'm going to add a whole nother fucking level to this. So congrats. That's awesome. That's really
Thank
great.
you. Thank
That's
you
awesome.
so much.
Well, that's it.
That's pretty much
Ow.
it. Yeah, thank you so much for talking with us, Meeshy.
Appreciate
Is there
you
anything else you have to
guys.
say to the crowd? Any big announcements?
Anything coming up?
Coming up, so I mean, Love Burn. That's gonna be great. I'm
yeah,
playing
good
at
deal.
Sky Bar Friday night at Love Burn with my violinist friend. We're doing another collab. Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of taking it easy on the shows. I'm going to be doing Humble House Records radio show at the end of this
Nice.
month. So I'll be doing an interview and a live radio DJ mixing then. So that's what January looks like.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. Well, congrats, Meeshy. Congrats on
you.
100 shows. Congrats on making it to 2025.
Yes, we did that.
did that.
Fucking guy.
Here we go.
Happy New Year.
You guys ready for this year?
Yes.
2025 is going to be a big year. I think it's going to be a big year for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
for better, for worse, it's going to make or break. I think everybody
Yes,
in our
yes.
circle, dude. Like
Yes,
everyone I talk to is
100%.
pretty much doing the same thing. They're locking in. They're trying to find their value, trying to figure out how they can justify either charging more for a gig or blowing themselves up online, trying to create a social image, whatever. So hats off to you, hats off to everyone out there.
And
killing
you guys, yeah.
you.
it. And we'll see what 25 has to bring.
Up and up, baby. Maybe 3 steps up, 2 steps down, but we continue going up.
Yes, as long as it's positive. I'm excited to see. You mentioned like kind of the women DJs in the scene. You know, there's a huge force in St. Pete in particular, but especially Tampa and Orlando. Obviously all the smaller networks and Miami. Miami's blowing up. So I'm excited to see everything that comes in from the divine feminine side of things.
Yes.
And, we'll be watching you closely.
We need you guys. We need the divine masculine too. So
we
is that what the
That's
DJs in
The dog in us,
Alaska?
It's okay. Christian and I, we like, I don't know. We come from sadness and darkness and anger when we make our music. So that's where the masculine comes
From the divine feminine, it's just makes me so sad. But it creates something beautiful.
Maybe we could collab. You bring the dark, I bring the light,
Hey.
and somewhere in
Hell
between.
yeah.
A little yin and yang action
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
do
We'll
it.
have to talk about it more.
we will.
All right. Well, thank you again, Meeshy.
Thank you.
We got
you.
episode
Thank you.
18 of the final mix with REM Music, Meeshy as our guest. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
See ya.
Peace.